Unions are using tragedy to try and destroy opportunities. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian.Heise here, and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Grab your stein of coffee because we're going to be talking about an article that appeared on news.com.au. Food delivery drivers pay just $10.42 an hour, everyone. Just $10.42 an hour. Oh no, I wouldn't get out of bed for less than $50, less than $100, you're all saying in the comments. But let's have a look at this, guys. Let's look at what actually is going on here. And it's kind of disgusting what's being used to try and destroy opportunities and get more control and power for the unions. So, this all comes from government to the rescue and calls for more intervention. We need to talk about the minimum wage. Okay, now what we have here is a supply-demand curve. This one here, this is our supply curve, and this is our demand curve. They're straight lines. And in a normal market, the price paid for a quantity of labor is in equilibrium. There'll be so many people willing to work for a price that the graph adjusts. It'll find a equal price. That's what you want. That is, the prices in an economy are signals to adjust supply and demand for different goods. If prices are skyrocketing, say for timber, there are going to be people out there who are trying to find ways to maybe recycle timber or find new suppliers, do what they can. It'll create new businesses and new opportunities until people come in and undercut to create competition and the price reaches an equilibrium level as well. Now the danger is when we have intervention in the market, when we have price controls, when we have things like a minimum wage, that is not without a consequence. Now, here's the thing. You might see something that you disagree with and you want to intervene. You think, oh, someone shouldn't be paid for that much. Florian, it's horrible. How dare you advocate for that? Everyone needs to earn at least $50 an hour. I'm being facetious there, but there will be some people that sound like that. Every time you want to use the authority of the state to intervene in the market, there's going to be a consequence. Every single time. And let's have a look at this example here. So let's say, people say, okay, we need to have a minimum wage at this level right here. At this level here. So what happens if your wage goes up to, I don't know, let's say X dollars, $20 or whatever here. Suddenly, the amount of people that are willing to work increases. It shoots up to here. That means the quantity of labor is up here. So there are all these people willing to work in the economy that want to work, guys. You've got a surplus of labor. Because what happens is at the new wage rate, because you've got set this minimum wage at this level, demand decreases. The number of businesses that need workers goes down from this equilibrium level. It goes down. So, people will not take on that extra staff member. They won't hire, or hours will be cut. People will offshore work if they don't want to deal with it or if they can't afford to handle it. That's what happens. That's how it adjusts. Small businesses in particular. The owners might just work extra hours going, I would really like an assistant to help me do this or this or this, but no, I can't afford that money. It's not worth it. So that means demand for labor goes down. So the number of people that are actually hired is here. Now, that means you're going to have a difference in the supply for labor that's provided, QS here, we'll just call it, and the actual demand for labor. It's that much. That's the difference. There's going to be more people willing to work than there are jobs because opportunities are being destroyed due to this intervention. And what you have here is the dead weight loss. This is the actual price that you pay to have this intervention. This is the difference in where the market would naturally be and where the market artificially is now because you've had this intervention in the market. That's the price you're paying. So that's why you'll have people that are angry at someone on the dole or the dole bludgers, But let's say you don't have the skills to work at this level. You couldn't get in. The bottom rungs, you'd have been able to get a job at this much because maybe you're new, maybe you're inexperienced, but you don't have the skills to get a job at this level, so you can't get in. Your opportunities have been taken away from you to get a better life. So what are you going to do? So, if you've ever taken advantage of this situation, of this artificial intervention in the market, I would advocate you have a duty of care to the people that are stuck in the dead weight loss. I would prefer that we experiment with ways to wean off these interventions and maybe reduce the burden of the state on people so they are able to live a more comfortable life. But people don't seem to get that because it's emotionally driven. So people will often propose things, legislation with the best of intentions, and not understand the consequences of what they're advocating for. And there's no better example of that than California and new laws which are, destroying their gig economy. They're crushing freelancers as well, everyone. And I thought it'd be worth looking at this article from CNBC to learn what's happened in America, particularly because, America seems to be going more the way of California with the current administration. So California's new employment law has boomeranged and is starting to crush freelancers. California's new AB5 employment law takes effect on the 1st of January 2020, and freelancers, because this was written in December 2019, freelancers are already feeling the squeeze with a decline in business and income. Now, freelancing, not everyone wants a normal job. Some people want to freelance. Some people want to have the opportunity to work when they want. They want to have that freedom and flexibility. That's more important to them than being a full-time employee. Because you can be a full-time employee, get all these perks and benefits, and be happily dependent and trusting someone else. We were talking yesterday about a vegan restaurant that didn't pay super and other costs for a lot of staff. And there were people in the comments saying, yeah, that's common in the restaurant game. So chef for so many years, went back to work for pretty bad money, needed it, and then, all got shut down, didn't get super, didn't get anything. That's one reason I would advocate that everything should get paid to people themselves. So you're not trusting your employer, and then you have to pay it to your super fund yourself, or voluntarily if you want. We can't have that though, can we? Give people control of control of their own money that they earned. Oh, Florian, that's so radical. So the law codifies the ABC test, which helps employers determine who should be classified as a freelancer, giving exemptions to some types of freelancers such as architects, doctors, insurance agents, and truck drivers. Okay, yay, architects got an exemption. Fantastic. Experts say many other blue states, such as New York and New Jersey, are considering adopting similar laws. According to Upwork's 2019 Freelancing in America survey, there is a reported 57 million American freelancers contributing an excess of $1 trillion to the economy each year. So, Jeremiah Labrash, 36, works as a tech programmer for a telecom by day and as a freelance cartoonist for media companies on his free time. Sometimes he brings in half his annual income from his freelance work. Okay, half his income from freelancing, everyone. That changed when Assembly Bill 5 passed in California, and Governor Gavin Newsom signed it into law on September 18th. The law required most companies to reclassify contract, freelance, and contingent workers, the backbone of the gig economy, as full-time employees eligible for benefits, a guaranteed $12 to $13 state minimum wage, and protections under the state's employment law. Now, these things all sound good. They all sound good and nice. Yes, you want these things, and people rush out and clamor for them. Usually those that aren't capable enough to have a side gig or to really freelance hard or to be good at it. But it's more power for the unions, more control for the government. This poor guy's lost potentially half his annual income. Labrash, based in Los Angeles, suddenly found potential projects drying up when he submitted onboarding paperwork to potential clients, and they discovered he lived in California. So where he's living, this destroyed his opportunities for work. I've had them hire me and then come back and say they're no longer interested, said Labrash. All of a sudden, someone I've never talked to says, we've decided not to move forward. I've never had that happen before this year. He can't be certain the reason is AB5, though he believes it is. He's seen a 40% decline in his freelance income since the law passed in September. My savings are stagnant, he said. I really can't look into buying a house. The housing market here is hard already. Well, hasn't changed, mate. In the future, hasn't changed. Even if employers hire him for freelance work, here's the real kicker, guys. Here is the real kicker. He is limited to 35 annual submissions per client before they have to put him on a payroll, he notes. It's limited under the law. So they're not just limiting wages, they're limiting the amount of work you can do for someone. This is nuts. No free market, no opportunities. Okay, this guy, he was doing this work to build savings, to build a better future for himself. That's what you've got to do, okay? You can't depend on anyone else to take care of you. They're just going to screw you over. The government's going to screw you over. The unions are going to screw you over. The banks are going to screw you over. You've got to take care of yourself. Maybe that's just an old-fashioned idea that I'm putting forward, guys. Showing my age. So that's not a large amount for regular contributors to media companies. You're going to hit your quota, and they won't want to hire you. Labrash isn't alone in fearing he's losing a big part of his income as a freelancer. AB5 has sent shockwaves throughout the world of companies that employ freelancers and the independent workers whom they rely on since it passed. The law codifies the ABC test, which helps employers determine who should be classified as a freelancer, giving exemptions to some freelancers such as architects, doctors, insurance agents, lawyers, grant writers, real estate agents, tutors, truck drivers, and manicurists. Really? The law, which takes into effect on Jan 1, 2020, could cost the employers a lot of money. It says the exemptions are retroactive. The California Supreme Court just announced this week it will make a decision on whether the ABC test applies to contractor relationships prior to 2019. Before the Supreme Court opted to use the ABC test in the court case, Dynamics Operations West Inc. versus Superior Court of Los Angeles. That's insane. It has many unicorns, including Lyft, DoorDash, Instacart, and Uber, worried about their business models, scrambling to launch a voter initiative to roll back the effects of AB5. I mean, there you go, guys. And there's plenty of articles out there of, particularly and ironically, leftist journalist losing freelance work. kind of satisfying in a morbid way. But this shows you guys that the best rules are destroying opportunities for people. And this is no different, well, to what is happening here. But this is quite a tragic story that is being used for, well, opportunity and a power grab. We'll see. So food delivery drivers paid just $10.42 an hour, union claims. Okay, now this is rubbish. You're a contractor. Okay, the hours are completely irrelevant to you. You get to pick and choose when you work. Maybe in the middle of the night you want to go, or late at night you want to go do some Uber Eats delivery or food delivery. You weren't going to do anything, or you're just wasting time playing a computer game. You wanted to make a bit of extra pocket money. Now, I've done this before. I did Uber Eats. I did even Uber. The money was terrible, but it was cash flow. It was instant. I could go out there, work, and boom, get $100. Get 100 I need. Just then and there, instant cash flow. That is the advantage of it. I wouldn't recommend it as a long-term thing. I'm sure some people can do really well. If you've got to be good. You got to be good. You got to work hard. Yeah, I didn't quite enjoy it. I enjoyed talking to people. It was great fun, and listening to lectures when I was doing it. And if you want to go, it's not hard work, honestly, guys. If you want to go out there and do it at night time, go right ahead. Meet some people, earn a bit of money. But that's the thing. You're a contractor. You're not an employee. So your hours don't make a difference. Some hours you could be earning $200 or $300 an hour. I went out on Christmas Day. I'd eaten, I had my nap, and I told the family, because the kids were playing computer games or Lego, and Rachel was reading a book. I said, you know what? I'm going to go do some Uber. Let's see what happens. And I came back. Hey, I made $500 on Christmas. Just paid for all the Christmas presents. So that's opportunities, guys. Okay? So, an Aussie job that a union claims pays half the minimum wage could become a payment model adopted more broadly. It's been warned. See, this is fear. This is fear that they're trying to use. They're using fear to destroy opportunities. If you want to earn more than $10 an hour, pick the times you deliver food. Don't be crap at it. Okay, be faster. You got to get good, guys. So, Food delivery jobs that pay as little as $10.42 an hour undermine the broader transportation industry and put Australia in a state of national emergency, a union has said. The Transport Workers Union has waged a campaign for regulation of the gig economy in New South Wales. That's it. They want to get those fees, those charges. They want control. They want control of this industry. They were invited on Monday to give evidence to a federal select committee into job security. Well, here's the thing. You could lose your job somewhere else and you could fall back on this. It doesn't take much to be a food delivery driver. It takes nothing. Phone and a bike, you can even do it. National Secretary Michael Caine warned in his opening statement that conditions under which many food delivery riders work could be replicated in the broader transport sector if legislators didn't intervene. This model now threatens to pervade the entirety of the freight market and has moved quickly into nearly every sector of the economy, a single area of the economy, Mr. Caine said. And here they're talking about a protester who was killed at an event, at a protest. They're talking about a driver that lost his life doing this, which is a tragedy, guys. It's really sad, but that can happen anywhere. So, God, men die in jobs all the time. That's really a very different topic. That's completely ignored by the media, isn't it? We are beyond disaster and disgrace. This is a national emergency. In evidence to a New South Wales parliamentary inquiry into the gig economy, the TWU has presented a survey and showed the average hourly wage for workers delivering food by scooter was just $10.42 an hour. That's less than half the national minimum wage for casual workers at $24.80 per hour. What does that tell you about the minimum wage? Perhaps that's too large. What if we had this industry at $25 an hour? It would either destroy it, or what'll happen is, if we go back to this, what will happen is it won't destroy it. You will just have the supply of people wanting to do delivery food right up here, guys. It'll go nuts, but the demand will go right down here. You'll only have really toffs, I think, or lazy bastards getting food delivered, guys, because they're the only ones that could afford it. I mean, it's kind of depressing taking like a huge bag of junk food to someone who's really shouldn't be eating it. You feel like a drug dealer taking sugar to their hit. That's what it felt like, guys. I really didn't like doing it. The rate was calculated by subtracting the cost of vehicles and equipment from an average gross hourly rate of $16.32. Rideshare giants Uber and Oola told the Senate committee they were open to paying drivers a minimum wage, but that it shouldn't come at the cost of flexibility. Well, if they do it, it'll demand for providing Uber will go right up. Demand for using Uber will go right down. But what do you want? Do you want the flexibility or not? Australia Uber and Uber Eats officials said the company was keen to work with government to improve conditions for drivers and riders. See, this is the thing, guys. Remember, it may sound good. It may sound good. But you know why Uber and Oola are doing it? Because they want to destroy the opportunity for other upstarts to come in. So they've come in and ignored all the rules. They've destroyed the taxi industry. Now they want to get a stranglehold on it from competition. That's what they want. This is you're seeing here is the crony capitalism. Big corporates coming together with the unions and the governments to limit market, destroying opportunities for people. Just watch, guys. And then you get this perverse mess where people are paying $500,000 for a taxi plate to drive a car around. It's insane. That's just utterly insane. I know. I feel sorry for people that did it, but that was a completely artificial market because everyone can get a car for pennies. Well, not pennies, you know what I mean. So we're interested in looking at earnings as long as we look at the period from which they accept to when they complete a trip, Uber Eats General Manager Matthew Denman said. If we're talking about putting minimum rates, including wait times, we wouldn't be supportive of that. Oh, wow. So, because that's the thing. You can be busy when you're doing this, and you get one job after another, and it's going crazy, like non-stop. But there'd be people that would be sitting on their ass and just refusing jobs. and just waiting there, not earning anything. You could do your Uber Eats from home or Uber deliveries from home and just press, no, I won't take that job. Won't take that job. Wow. In order to do that, it would require us to require all drivers and delivery partners to only use our platform and work fixed shift in fixed places. Yeah, it's turning it into the taxi industry. It's going to destroy opportunity for people. Sure, it's not much money, but for some people, doing this is keeping them in a house, is keeping their kids in school, is keeping them from being dependent on the government and having self-respect. This is what they're going to destroy it, guys. They're going to destroy it. We're not supportive of the traditional employment model. ULA, Australia, legal head, and Tan said the company's 75,000 drivers were earning about $21 an hour, excluding costs such as car maintenance. Yeah, it's not good money, okay? You don't do this to get good money. You do it for the flexibility. You do it because, okay, I'm going to go drive on the weekend because I want a bit of extra pocket money maybe to buy a computer game. Or, you know, it's that extra work you do. You don't care about your car. You're just going to ride it to death, pull as much money out of that vehicle as you can because it's losing value anyway, and that can help you get a house deposit. She said the company stopped offering accident insurance for drivers in June last year, but that was now under review. Job Security Committee Chair Tony Sheldon asked Ms. Tan what guarantees drivers had about the minimum standards. They don't. Yeah, drivers like flexibility. We wouldn't want changes that would remove flexibility, she said. We'd welcome policies that improve driver conditions. She said any policy that restricted a driver's ability to choose may result in an unfair playing field for smaller players. Senator Sheldon said agreeing to minimum rates was a start. There you go. Oh, see, this is the problem. You know, it's going to be. They'll support it, and then it'll destroy opportunities. We don't want to go back to the 19th century working conditions. We need the fair working conditions to regulate like they do for other workers, Senator Sheldon said. The plight of delivery drivers was highlighted at the end of last year when several workers were killed in on-the-job accidents over the space of a few weeks. The death toll prompted the New South Wales government to set up a task force to investigate, but the TWU claimed at the beginning of this month the task force silenced riders' concerns and said it would quit participating in the process. So, there we go, guys. It's going to destroy opportunities for people. You may think it's nothing. I wouldn't work. I wouldn't get out of bed for $20 an hour, $20 an hour. But you've got to understand that may be your perspective. Let's have a talk about some solutions. You know, you may be in a much better position than some people. This may be the first rungs on the ladder to someone improving their lives, to a career. It may be someone who, you know, we had trade reps who would come in. You know, they drive around, they go to architects' offices, and they'll talk to you about a product, a new, you know, maybe new material, maybe new cladding, even door handles, anything. And we had one of them, she would pick this up on Uber once. Same, we knew her. She just did it between her work. Downtime, between meetings. Flexibility, opportunity. This is a good thing for people. That's what you want. You want to create opportunity for people to work. You don't want to take it away, because we're going to have a deadweight loss in this country that's even getting bigger and bigger. And what happens when you have a deadweight loss? That leads to social issues. So I'd argue we need to reduce government burdens that disincentivize the creation of local jobs that are encouraging offshoring. This is actually a local job. This is one that can't be replaced offshore, driving people around, delivering things. What you'll do is they'll push for crony capitalist models that give them control, and they'll slowly automate. I'd argue we need to create special economic regions, and that's my topic for today, to experiment with reduced levels of government intervention in the economy, guys. I'm just picking one part of Queensland here out of random, so we can test these ideas. Because remember, Uber came in. The only reason the police, I drove a senior police woman, like a high commissioner. I picked her up from Government House. She took an Uber. This is when it was legal. I drove her out home. And I asked her, why didn't the police intervene and stop this? And they said they looked at it, and they advised the politicians they didn't have the resources to do it because it was too big. And the benefit to the community and the rest of the community wasn't there. There you go. Imagine how much money you could have saved if this had have existed for years ago, or if they'd have just deregulated that industry. Because remember, it's fear, everyone, that destroys opportunities. They want control. So, there we go, guys. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on this one in the comments down below. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you're a fan and enjoy the content I create here, there are a few ways you can support us. You can join us on YouTube or Patreon. You can support us using our affiliate links on Amazon, eBay, Independent Reserve, or AussieBroadband. You can buy merch from HeiseSays, use Gold Pass from the Perth Mint, or support us via PayPal. Take care, have a great day, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye for now.